Hey guys, Rick Fan here. Welcome to another podcast episode of the Fan of Life show. Thanks for coming back. And today's episode is going to be a solo episode. So I want to cover a topic of actually, you know what? Not even a topic. I just want to have an open conversation with you guys. The theme of my show is conversations to inspire or conversations that inspire. I probably shouldn't know the mantra of my show, so it's something like that. But either way, my hope and my dream for this show, for those of you guys that are listening and will hopefully continue to listen, is that I leave you each and every episode or every show with a feeling of inspiration that you too can achieve what it is that you want to achieve financially, spiritually, relationship wise, personally, and professionally. Um, and I think one of the things that we don't really tap on or tap into a lot, because maybe it's not as fun of a topic, is the topic of setbacks, the topics of feeling the valleys, and the ebbs and flows of business and in life. Because sometimes life feels like it kicks you in the groin, and that saying where when it rains, it pours, and it is so true because, and I recently heard this, so this is not mine. I think I might have heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast, whether he said it or one of his guests said it. And what I heard really resonated with me. And what it was the saying goes, the worst thing that is happening to you is the worst thing that is happening to you. Meaning that regardless of where you are in life, when something that is happening to you that is affecting you in the negative way, for you, it is the worst thing in that moment. I'll tell you right now, honestly, as the recording of this video, of this episode, we're going through, or myself, my wife and I, we're going through some valleys, some challenges, not relationship wise. So nothing there, but just from a growth standpoint, from a professional standpoint, business standpoint. Right now, she's going on week 2 of week 3, being away from me. I have responsibilities here at home in Vegas, business wise, that I have to maintain. And she's out there across the country in Pittsburgh, PA, trying to resolve some issues that we're having with business wise over there. So by the time she gets home, it will be a little bit over 3 weeks that we've been apart, all the way through actually coincidentally our anniversary as well, too. And you know what? That's tough. I think anyone that's ever had a health scare, especially when it pertains to a family member, especially pertains to your kids even, everything else sounds trivial, right? But like that saying I just stated earlier, whatever that's happening to you, the worst thing that's happening to you is the worst thing that's happening to you. So you don't want to neglect the feeling that you're feeling. Don't deny yourself of those emotions, of the process. But most importantly, you need to make sure that you do what I would like to call searching for perspective, meaning that when I feel a high level of anxiety, when I feel like I'm just drowning or barely treading water, and it happens more times than people realize, as I'm sure it does with you guys that are listening, I do 2 things. Number 1, I change my perspective and I ask myself, could it be worse? And the answer is always going to be yes. And since it's not worse, I want to shift my thinking from dwelling in the mud to being grateful. Because what I've come to believe and what I've come to experience in my own personal life is that gratitude and anxiety, fear, all the negative emotions cannot exist in the same plane at the same time. You either feel one or the other. It is very difficult, at least for me, nearly impossible, if not impossible, to feel a sense of anxiety, frustration, fear, sadness, all those things that are negative, if I am in the state of feeling appreciation and gratitude. And this is not some feel good, BS or new age stuff. There are scientific facts that show and studies that show that mind body connection is a real thing. And for me, whenever I feel like I'm drowning, treading water or what have you, I always force myself, and the key word is force because it does not come natural, is force myself to find things that I am grateful for. And the simplest things, or the simplest thing, is I take a deep breath, right? Like this. And I breathe out and I say, thank you. So if you choose gratitude, you're basically declining fear, you're rejecting anxiety, and you're rejecting all the things that hold you back in terms of emotion. So that's number one. Number two, what I do then is I go into solution mode. And it's my human nature to always face challenges and I counter it with solutions. I'm hardwired that way, and really to a fault, because it's caused challenges in my marriage sometimes too, because I always try to go in solution mode. And I don't know if it's a guy thing or what have you, but for me, when my wife brings me a challenge or something, sometimes she's feeling a little bit down or she's facing some adversity. Sometimes instead of hearing her out fully because she needs to go through her process, I cut her off and go, okay, cool. Let's do A, B, C, and D, and let's resolve it. And that in itself is not always the best response. Okay. So I self-admit that. That's something I got to work on. But problem solving does need to happen, and it does need to come in at some point. And for me, once I shift my mind into the standpoint and perspective of feeling grateful and having gratitude, I then have a clearer vision of how to resolve challenges. So then I go into solution mode. And the best way to go into solution mode is to see things as they are, not less, not more. In our minds, we tend to exaggerate for the worse. Or sometimes if we're in denial, we pull back and we don't see things as bad as they are. But most of the times, I will say in life, unless things are terminal, in life, most of the challenges that you will face will never be as bad as your mind portrays or projects it to be. So first and foremost, realize whatever the challenge is, it is what it is, as lame as that saying and that statement goes, right? Then what you need to do, or what I do, is I focus on the items that I can control. Because in reality, everything else is fluff. Everything else is white noise. I heard an interview, and I wish I knew. I'm really bad with names, so I reference a lot of things that I learned in life, whether it's in podcasts or what have you. But I just wish I should write it down more. But I saw an interview one time, and a Buddhist monk, I believe, was asked, "How do you handle stress? How do you handle what have you, all the challenges?" And he said the answer was, "Can you change your challenge? If the answer is yes, then why stress? Can you change your challenge? If the answer is no, then why stress?" The bottom line is, why stress? Because the things you can control, control them. The things you cannot control, it doesn't matter. So when I go into solution mode, I always focus on the things and action items that I can physically control and I can focus on and I can change. The resolution of whatever the challenge is evolves and happens naturally because I'm taking action on things that I can control. Easier said than done, I realize. And just like anything else, exercise or learning a new skill, these skills, you gotta just stay in the forefront of your mind and practice and take successes as they come. Is that a word, successes? Sorry about that. Take success as they come, no matter how small. So if you have a challenge and you're able to take one minor step, one small step, right, towards resolving the issue, that's a celebration, that's a win. Because the thing about winning and the thing about achieving is that it's not ever one item or one grand thing. The one grand thing is the end result, but it's all compounded result of things that you do and you stack on top of each other. So one small win times 10 of them equals a big win. And I know when you're in the thick of it, it seems hopeless. It seems like you're drowning and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But I promise you, if you focus on those two things, gratitude and controlling what is controllable, you will always, always find a light at the end of the tunnel and see your challenges through. And on the other side of that, I truly believe will be your dreams, your goals, and everything that you want. So with that said, make sure you guys take care of yourself and each other. All right, signing off.